Right. Like I said, this is the first official unboxing. I did make an unboxing on the iPod Shuffle from Apple, but I lost the footage, and also I was doing a review of a fake iPod Touch or iPhone made in China. That was on holiday, and unfortunately the footage didn't last long enough, and it cut in the middle. So I lost that. So this is going to be the first official for YouTube. Wow, so much packaging. Crikey. Finally. Alright, so just turn it for you guys. So, this is the box. It looks very small. I'm really surprised. I was expecting it to be a little bit bigger from a box. Alright, so as we look around, we have the picture of Launchpad at the front with an iPad. On the side we just have the Launchpad Mini and some writing on the back. Sorry, I can't read upside down. So, tough, compact, and powered by your iPad. I don't have an iPad, so it's not really a loss for me. I am a portable, a DJ that goes on the go everywhere, so that's why I bought this. So, here's the Launchpad Mini. I'll just get that. And inside we have stickers. That's going to be very useful, considering that the Launchpad does not have any anything that says basically what it is. I don't know how to say it. If you look on the original Launchpad, you can see that it has writing saying like mixer, user 1, user 2, and all the arrow keys. On this it just says from 1 to 8 down the X axis on the top, and A to H on the Y axis on the right. Yep, so we have stickers here, and we have the getting started guide. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Ableton Live 9, I believe. So say hello to your new studio. Alright. So we have some additional stuff here. Important information. Yep. Yeah, the basic startup guide. And stickers. So, what do we have here? The USB powered thing here. If you want to use it with the iPad, you will need an iPad to camera connector. Yeah, like I said, I don't have an iPad, so that doesn't really, I don't really care about that. Alright, so that's the box. Let's have a look at the iPad Mini. I must say that it's tiny. It's really, really small. I'm so surprised. I did ask a lot of people online what the buttons feel like, because that's really important for me. And no one could explain it. So I'll just tell you that the response is pretty good. It's basically kind of like rubber, but it has a plastic coating on top of it, a very thin plastic coating. That just makes it, feel proper and all that. On the back, we have a nice stylized rubber. On the original Launchpad, we do have just 4 points of rubber here. This has, it's got a whole coating, so it's not going to go anywhere, as you can see. So yeah, to be honest, it does, the size it's just like a toy, to be honest, really. The size of it is just amazing, how thin it is. I'm just so amazed by this. Alright, so that's the Launchpad Mini, which, like I said, we have all the stickers here. Yeah, the cable, and so basically this tells you how to, this startup guide tells you how to plug everything in, how to get started, and yep, so it tells you all the settings that you should do.
The original Launchpad was released in 2009 as a tool designed to work primarily with Ableton Live, which you can tell by looking at the old Launchpad design and even that of the Launchpad S. Even the original ad started with the message saying "ready to play live." However, since then, people have written a ton of scripts designed to make the Launchpad work with other software like FL Studio, Traktor, Reason, or even Max, the visual programming environment for musicians. There's even a mono emulator for the Launchpad called the Nano, meaning that you can run famous patches like MLR on it. Now, the Launchpad Mini is the first iteration of the Launchpad to not have the Ableton logo on it, and it's being marketed as the Launchpad for the iPad generation. So let's take a look at some of the good things about it. The first thing you'll notice is that it's obviously way smaller than the original Launchpad. This small size makes it incredibly portable. Whether you use it with an iPad or a laptop, it's easy to just take them out anywhere and start jamming. I've even heard comments about the smaller size of the Launchpad Mini making it easier to play than the larger version, since you can take it out and play it with your thumbs like this. Kinda reminds me of a game controller, or a Tenarion. Another awesome thing is the class compliance, which means it doesn't need drivers. So now you can connect it not only to iPads and other tablets, but also to microcomputers like the Raspberry Pi or Qbox, which means it's very hacker friendly. Lately, Novation have been trying to distance the Launchpad from being seen as an exclusive Ableton Live controller. And although there are lots of scripts meant to make it very usable with other software, one of the main draws of the Launchpad Mini is the fact that it retains the original functionality that the Launchpad Classic came out. The way the original Launchpad works with Live is, in my honest opinion, the best native controller integration with Live this side of the Ableton push. For anyone not familiar with it, here's how it works. You get a session mode for launching clips, 2 user modes meant for playing notes or mapping to whatever you want, and a mixer overview mode meant for controlling volumes, pans, and sends. The session mode is a direct mirror of the clips in Ableton Live's session view, and it's what the Launchpad excels at, launching clips, just like the name suggests. As a good demonstration of that, Median's famous pop culture video is composed mostly out of launching clips. User 1 mode sends MIDI note messages, which means that you can use it to play drum racks or any other instrument. While you don't get LED feedback in this mode natively, it's very easy to set up live so that each button on the Launchpad lights up as you press it. Using the Launchpad primarily in User 1 mode is made famous by Emperor Sonic and his live performance videos. User 2 mode is meant as a clean slate, where you can do whatever else you want, like integrating a master live patch or just mapping device parameters in Live into it. My current 2 Launchpad setup has one Launchpad always in User 2 mode, which I use to select the instruments I'm playing and assign mutes, sends, or various effects I've mapped. The Mixer Overview mode is meant more as a starting page for jumping to other pages, like the volume controls, or the panning, or A and B sends. You can set everything back to its default value in the main mixer page, as well as arming tracks for recording, solo them, or stopping clips on a particular track. This integration with Ableton Live was a complete game changer when the Launchpad first came out in 2009, and it still retains a large part of its appeal today. It's incredibly easy to use and it takes virtually no time to set up, especially since Ableton Live 9 has started recognizing controllers automatically and the respective scripts. Moving on, it's worth mentioning that the lights of the Launchpad Mini are brighter than those of the Launchpad Classic, which is good for people that need to play in well-lit areas a lot, like I do. Weirdly enough, the smaller, cheaper Launchpad seems to me a bit more solid than the full-size version. Aside from this strange micro USB slot at the side, which I call strange although I couldn't come up with a better idea for it myself, the Launchpad Mini seems very durable. The upper plate seems better bound at the bottom, the buttons are less clicky, and it even seems heavier in relation to its size. However, the single greatest draw of the Launchpad Mini must be the fact that all of the advantages that I've just listed are combined with a street price of exactly $99 US. As with the original Launchpad, Novation have really raised the bar when it comes to the accessibility of very versatile gear. There is simply no other grid controller that does as much for the same price, especially when it comes to working with Ableton Live. When it comes to grievances about the Launchpad Mini, the only problems aren't about what it is or what it does, but rather about what it doesn't do. There are two main points, the first of which being the fact that it's got buttons and not pads, which means there's no velocity sensitivity. A lot of people have voiced the need for this, but it seems pretty easy to get over given the multitude of Launchpad sample playing videos on the net, including my live dubstep controllerism video with close to 500,000 views. The second grievance refers to the lack of RGB buttons. Although the lights on the Launchpad Mini are brighter, they can't show the full range of colors, and one could definitely see the advantages of having that, like being able to see the colors of clips like on the push and a lot of other cool uses. Even so, you can still use it to put on a pretty cool light show. And it's not as if it's limited to one single color like a lot of other older controllers. All that being said, even if Novation were to release a Launchpad with velocity-sensitive pads and RGB buttons, that would definitely drive the prices up. And that would mean losing part of the accessibility that I just spent 3 minutes praising. Besides this, an awesome way to use the Launchpad Mini is to run a script extending its functionality, like the Launchpad 95, which we covered a few months ago and which is free to download. The fact that you can get 90% of the functionality of a controller like the Ableton Push but for just under $100 is really saying something. So what does this all mean? Well, my honest opinion is this. There is no button grid controller in the $100 price range right now that can beat the versatility of the Novation Launchpad Mini. For anyone considering playing around with controllerism, hacking something with lots of buttons, or just launching clips next to other pieces of gear, I think the Launchpad Mini is definitely worth checking out.
Is the Launchpad. Well, you can see here I have both the Launchpad S and the Launchpad Mini. These, in terms of functionality, are pretty much identical. The key difference is, and you could probably see, the size. Other than that, in terms of what we're able to do with the Launchpad, pretty much the same stuff. So let's have a think about it. We have 64 square buttons here, so this is an 8x8 grid, and the circle buttons that we have allow us to access different modes. So at the moment I'm in the session mode. We have session, user 1, user 2 and mixer, but in the session mode the circle buttons on this side become navigation tools and allow me to move up and down and access the various different clips and stuff that I have in my Ableton Live set. And the buttons down here allow me to launch clips. So let's just trigger some clips. And now I can trigger another clip here, no problem. Bring this one in as well. So this is essentially the lifeblood of the Launchpad S and the Launchpad Mini. It's essentially a clip launching system for Ableton. If we move over here, we have our mixer, and in the mixer we have things like our volume controls, which we can treat the buttons and channels like faders. But we can also treat them as kill switches as well, which is a nice way of working. We have control over the pan signals, and we can send stuff out to the left and right hand side, or we can just center everything, no problem. Here I have access to 2 of our send effects, and sends are basically where I can place an effect on another channel and route a signal out to it. Here we've got a delay, here we have some reverb. So you can see it's super easy to work your way through Ableton Live sets using the Launchpad. Now, I'm going to create an empty clip, and I do that by just pressing the button on a record armed track. The button will go red to show me it's recording. I've pushed it again, it will go green to say I've recorded, but it's an empty clip at the minute. So I'm going to place some stuff in here. I'm going to go to my user page, and now I'm going to basically just record in a little drum pattern. So we've captured that. I'm going to stop the other clips now so we can hear them. Okay, go back to our user page. So we can use Launchpad as a nice little pad to be able to actually play in and record drum patterns or any sort of pattern. Now, user 2 mode allows me to control my different effects. And on this page, we basically have horizontal control. I've previously mapped a filter to be controlled on this row. So you can see there that the Launchpad will let you do lots of different things within your Ableton Live set. It's important to note that in the box as well you'll get a set of stickers which you can place over so that you can use the Launchpads with FL Studio as well. It's a very powerful controller. If you have any questions or want to know anything more about the Launchpad, give the guys at West End a call and they'll be able to answer any of your questions. Okay, thanks a lot for watching.
It's convenient.